There's the opening bell, kicking things off. Welcome to the latest UWF TNA release from highspots.com and highspots TV. Brad Stutz calling the action along with Grant Sawyer. The date is March 31st, 2006. We are at the Stuart Grant Center on the campus of Everett University in Danville, Virginia, and our opening contest for high-flying, fast-paced athletes as Team Canada captain Petey Williams and Showtime Eric Young take on the pioneer of the X Division, Jerry Lynn, and Sanjay Dutt.
Thank you very much, Brad, and it's truly an honor to be back here with TNA, and a great big shout-out to both NASCAR racing great Hermie Sadler and Dave Hebner for bringing TNA action back to the Virginias.
Of course, under the UWF banner, TNA making its first official stop in Virginia. You'll notice the six-sided ring in place for the first time in the state of Virginia and the first time on a UWF-sanctioned event. Jeremy Boras, JB, doing the ring announcing. It is an authentic TNA atmosphere here in Danville as Jerry Lynn with a shoulder tackle takes Petey Williams off his feet.
Yeah, like you said, it is a college atmosphere, a party atmosphere here on campus, and what a tag team action to kick it off. Jerry Lynn took the roll backbreaker up Petey Williams, going for the early cover, but only able to get a two.
Ryan Hebner, the official in the ring on this opening contest. And as I stated earlier, the pioneer of the X Division mini field in Jerry Lynn. Now a tag into Sanjay Dutt, and Sanjay has already qualified for Team USA in the big World X Cup coming up this summer as we see the sprinkler on Petey Williams.
Sanjay Dutt, an incredible entertainer, but more important than that, he's an incredible athlete, one of the very best TNA has to offer. And looking at this matchup from the classical tag team sense, you have to think Team Canada is going to be the more well-oiled, established combination. But when you have the veteran, the likes of Jerry Lynn in one corner, that really makes it even on both sides.
Tag into Showtime Eric Young. Young gets caught daydreaming and eats the Rana, and a deep arm drag from Sanjay Dutt.
Sanjay Dutt showing exactly what he's capable of here in the early going. And as I look at Eric Young, he's in no too good a shape right now, but you gotta think he's very happy to not have the six sides of steel surrounding him as he was on last week's TNA.
Eric Young has had a very bad couple of weeks. it was him and Alex Shelley who were the targets of Sting when Sting returned to TNA. And as you alluded to, just 1 week ago, Eric Young found himself inside the 6 sides of steel with Team 3D and was beaten to a bloody pulp.
One of the great Crimson Mask of the modern era, I must say.
Young was beaten goofy in that cage, maybe permanently goofy, as now has the sense enough to back Jerry Lynn into the corner. A lot of people feel that Eric Young is the MVP of Team Canada. Doesn't get the attention that Petey Williams or Bobby Roode generally get.
That's certainly a very fair assessment, but right now the veteran Jerry Lynn, one step ahead of Young, and showing Jerry Lynn has been all around this great world, competing in promotion after promotion, whether it be here in America, Mexico, Japan. Jerry Lynn has seen it all, he's done it all, and right now going 2-on-1 on Team Canada.
The double team tactics for Team Canada not working out thus far. Jerry Lynn, the veteran, one step ahead. Lynn is all over both Williams and Young.
Hip tosses for everyone as Brian Hebner and his old tag team partner, Sanjay Dutt, got a little bit too close to the action.
Jerry Lynn got fired up. He was in the zone, as they say.
A very unveteran-like maneuver from Jerry Lynn, actually.
You know, Lynn really enjoys his status as an agent, as a mentor to a lot of the younger guys on the TNA roster, making a rare in-ring appearance here tonight in Danville. And once those competitive juices get flowing again, you do kind of get fired up. You do kind of lose your control of your senses a little bit.
And Sir Sanjay Dutt was very excited coming into today's contest, being able to team alongside the likes of a veteran like Jerry Lynn, but I think he was regretting it there momentarily anyways.
The USA chant start up. As I alluded to, Sanjay Dutt will be a member of Team USA this summer when the World X Cup comes back to TNA, along with Chris Sabin, Jay Lethal, and Alex Shelley rounding out Team USA. Jerry Lynn eats the post of the 6-sided ring in a very uncomfortable position.
P. Williams using the 6 sides to his full advantage, now making the lateral press. Brian Hebner making the count. Just a 2 count.
Hebner recovered from that hip toss and is right there in position. We talk every time about how lucky and how privileged we are for the UWF to have the Hebners on board as advisors of guidance to the younger talent and as the best in-ring officiating we could possibly ask for in Earl and Brian Hebner. Tag into Showtime Eric Young.
And really for the first time in this contest, Team Canada actually has the offensive advantage thanks to the low blow using the ring courtesy of Petey Williams.
Young is a really unique athlete. In a lot of ways, he's fearless, but only kind of in the heat of the moment. If you actually corner him and tell him he's going into a cage with Team 3D, or tell him that Sting is right in front of him, he wants no part of it. But from bell to bell, Young will give you everything he's got. Bar none, he just got a cross-body from Jerry Lynn, the veteran, has held every championship that the NWA has to offer except the big one, the World Heavyweight Championship.
You know, as you alluded to earlier about Eric Young, what I really see in him is a lot of times over the years there will be these factions that come up, and there'll always be one guy that really emerges. No one pays attention to him at the time, but if you look back 5-10 years down the road, and Eric Young is really the one that establishes himself as one of the great next superstars in professional wrestling.
Petey Williams on the second rope, looks like he's going to do a little singing.
Some of the crowd singing along with him, but most of the crowd disgusted by the action of Petey Williams.
Well, everybody here in Danville looking to have a good time as we've got the superstars from NWA TNA, Spike TV, some of the best young athletes in the world in town tonight and in the ring right now. Petey Williams, winner formerly of the Super 8 tournament up in Delaware, held the Exhibition Championship for most of 2004.
And of course, if any of you have not possibly seen Petey Williams in the past, he is the owner of the most feared maneuver in professional wrestling today, the Canadian Destroyer.
Flips out and hits the side Russian leg sweep, catches Jerry Lynn off guard. Brian Hebner right there, 2 7/8.
Petey Williams momentarily arguing with official Brian Hebner, who is always right on top of his game, makes the counts very fair and square for each team.
Tag into Eric Young. Like I said, a really unique athlete. It takes some level of guts to end up in a cage with Team 3D to begin with. He doesn't always have the best plans, the best game plan, but this kid survives. He survived the cage. He's here in Danville. You've got to wonder how scarred up he is, how beat up he is.
I was actually surprised to see Eric Young even listed on the show for tonight after the beating we saw him take in 6 sides of steel. But right now, Team Canada is really where they're going to achieve their most, being able to double team action on either Sanjay Dutt or Jerry Lynn, which is exactly what's occurring right now.
Referee Brian Hebner right there to see whether or not it's a choke in progress. Not really sure if I think Eric Young is clever enough to slip that forearm under the throat, but if anyone could teach him how, it's Coach Scott DeMoore of Team Canada.
That's true, but right now, yes, Jerry Lynn right where he wants him, far, far away from the outstretched hand of Sanjay Dutt. But Jerry Lynn blistering back and forth chops.
Oh, Young is tough as heck, but Lynn is wearing the chest out with those chops.
Jerry Lynn over the top. Double collision, mid-ring, both men staggered, and Eric Young eats the canvas, and Jerry Lynn, very compromising position, lands right on top of Eric Young.
I was just about to say the last thing in the world Eric Young needed was another shot to the head, but I think he would have preferred that to the shot that Jerry Lynn inadvertently gave him on the fall.
And Jerry Lynn right now has some tremendous ring positioning if he's aware of where he is. Sanjay Dutt is right there. Petey Williams gets the tag, and so does Sanjay.
Double tag. Sanjay unloading on Petey Williams. We saw these two collide back at Fort Lee, Virginia.
The player from the Himalaya been waiting for the tag for several minutes now from Jerry Lynn. He's got it, and he's tearing Petey Williams apart.
Eric Young in a bad state on the apron. No position to help his partner.
Sanjay Dutt off the second rope, lion salt, nails it with the cover. Brian Hebner making the count, but Eric Young right there to make the save.
Young just barely gets there before the 3. Sanjay trashed to the outside, up to the line from Jerry Lynn in the ring. Boot to the midsection, could be the cradle pile driver. And again, Eric Young dropped on his head and neck.
Jerry Lynn though, not paying attention. Petey Williams is right there, going for the Canadian Destroyer.
Drops Lynn right on his head. There's the cover, but Sanjay Dutt breaks it up before there could be a count. Sanjay looked like he was going for sliced bread. Broken up, no. Canadian Destroyer gets countered.
Sanjay now calling, going to the
for the great fans that have turned out here in Danville from Maverick Matt Bentley. As the bell sounds and we have the first ladies one-on-one singles match sanctioned by the UWF to date as TNA Knockout Tracy takes on Amber O'Neal.
I think both women are very aware of the historical significance and what this match could do is setting the mark in the future for not only the UWF and TNA, but TNA on Spike as well.
Amber O'Neal, one of the few competitors in the UWF that is not a regular for TNA. She is one of the most in high demand independent female wrestlers in North America right now. Wrestles all over the country, most recently on Shimmer. Women's Athletes, the great promotion put together out in Chicago by Dave Prazak. Wrestles all over the country and has wrestled Tracy Brooks several times before. No stranger to each other are Amber O'Neal and Tracy.
Yeah, many of you may be familiar with Tracy, but many of you may be seeing the lovely Amber O'Neal for the first time ever. Amber was actually trained by the great Leilani Kai and has wrestled just about everyone under the sun, from Leilani to
Mickey James,
Wendy Richter to Bambi, and right now she's lighting up Tracy Brooks.
Tracy, one of the original TNA knockouts, divas if you will, and it looks like Amber is going to disrobe Tracy.
Amber gives these fans what many of them came here to see.
And a little shot to the ample derriere.
Tracy, so far, I would say, is being one-upped by the non-TNA regular.
There are no words for that, Grant Sawyer.
I did the best I could. And Matt Bentley is making his way to the back with Tracy.
He's taking Tracy by us. A little hug. Right here in front of the entranceway, a little strategy being talked over.
Well, these fans are going to be screaming for a refund if they want to get a conclusion of this Amber O'Neal and Tracy Brooks match.
Matt Bentley now going to air his grievance with referee.
Boy, does this not seem a bit unfair? Amber O'Neal doesn't have anyone in her corner. Matt Bentley obviously giving Tracy an extremely unfair advantage here.
Tracy going for a double axe handle. Amber ducked out of it, connected with a shoulder tackle to the rib cage, and now a couple of elbows. Amber O'Neal thus far very sharp on her game. You gotta wonder, Grant, if nerves are gonna play a part in this. One of the most high-profile matches of Amber's career to this point, and Matt Bentley once again interjects himself.
And I think you could say this for any wrestler, but the first time they step inside the six-sided TNA ring, their game plan completely changes because all the dynamics are completely different.
That is a great point. Amber is at the disadvantage being the only person on the event tonight to have never been inside the six-sided ring before.
Boy, that hair pull was illegal as all get out, but it certainly was effective.
Tracy looks like she hurt herself kicking Amber O'Neal.
Now she deserves it.
Lazy cover, only gets a count of 2.
Yeah, you've got to hook the pin, hook it tight if you expect it to count against an athlete the likes of Amber O'Neal.
As you said, trained by Leilani Kai, one of the toughest female wrestlers ever, and has been in the ring with all the greats in women's wrestling in 2006, including Tracy Brooks. But the story from the match thus far has absolutely been Matt Bentley interjecting himself, and he is dangerously close to Amber right now.
Boy, Tracy drove the knees into the back of Amber O'Neal, and you could see the pain etched across Amber's face there.
A couple more of those double knees, and she may not need the assistance from Bentley.
Yeah, but Bentley was the one that turned the tide in this contest. Amber had everything going her way until Matt Bentley interjected himself.
Only a count of 2. Making Amber waste the energy to kick out again.
And because of the actions of Matt Bentley, he alone has pretty much taken the crowd out of it. They wanted to see a one-on-one competitive women's contest for the first time ever under the UWF banner, and Bentley has pretty much deprived them of that.
Tracy using everything she's got to her advantage to distract the official, but Amber's still up. Schoolgirl only gets a count of 2. Takes the legs out.
Jackknife pin, going for it again, but once again, just a 2 count.
Quick covers. Oh, big time clothesline from Tracy.
She She runs right through her with that clothesline and once again maintains the advantage.
Amber looking for any pinning combination that she can get. She knows what a victory on this show will mean for her future. Conceivably, this could get her in the door at TNA. She's already here at this live event, but a victory in this situation could be a ticket to Orlando.
You're exactly
ticket to Spike TV.
You're exactly right. Amber O'Neal, really a cemented concrete victory here tonight could land her on national television 7 days from now.
Matt Bentley cheering on his teammate, Tracy Brooks.
I don't think it matters how many times Matt Bentley slaps the mat. Amber O'Neal has not tapped out, and she's not going to tap out as far as I'm concerned.
Amber trying to sneak out of this chin lock. Tracy Brooks.
Amber O'Neal hammering away to the midsection, off the ropes, and Tracy Brooks kick right to the midsection. You almost have to wonder, with the six-side ring coming to play there, did it lead to hesitation on Amber's part when it comes to run the ropes? The big DDT by Amber O'Neal.
Vertical suplex blocks, and Amber puts Tracy through the mat with that DDT. Both girls are down.
Amber O'Neal, no support in her corner except for these fans here, but Matt Bentley screaming, pounding on the mat in support of Tracy.
Referee up to 5. 6, looks like Tracy up to her knees. Amber still down on the canvas. Both girls back up to a vertical base, and Amber lights up the chest of Tracy Brooks.
Amber O'Neal, big clothesline takedown, and a second one.
Determination on that clothesline. Only gets 2. You've got to give it to Amber O'Neal, on top of her game tonight in Danville. Hits the ropes, big shoulder tackle, turns Tracy inside out.
Going for another count, but once again, just a 2.
Every opportunity to get that victory, Amber is jumping on. She knows what this victory could mean to her career. Elbow to the face. Tracy now going to the ropes. First time the ropes have been in play in this contest, and a face buster off the second rope.
That could be it right now. Tracy Brooks just has the presence to get over there and make a cover.
2, 3.
The NWA World Tag Team Champions here tonight in Danville, America's Most Wanted, in a non-title bout, taking on the team that has been their primary rivals in their career, Chase Stevens and Andy Douglas, the Naturals.
And I think the question everyone's asking here is, why in the world is this a non-title contest?
Well, the Naturals undoubtedly one of the top contenders to those titles at all times, and undoubtedly the team that holds more victories over AMW than any other team in TNA history. You've got to believe, if nothing else, it's the politicking of Jeff Jarrett and Jarrett's Army and AMW not wanting to put the titles on the line, not wanting the belts in jeopardy. Because anytime they face the Naturals, they know they're in jeopardy of a loss.
You know, it was just last month in Norfolk, Virginia, under the UWF banner, that this was a championship match. And the Naturals, me and you both saw it, the Naturals had that match won, had the titles back in their possession, but AMW flat out robbed them of a victory. And I guess in AMW's mind, that served as a concrete win.
The beer bottle of Cowboy James Storm has come into play numerous times on behalf of AMW. And I noticed that Storm did have the beer bottle in hand when the champions made their entrance.
Or do they go anywhere without that thing?
That's something that the Naturals have got to keep an eye out for, as it has failed both them and the James gang before.
The AMW can only go to the well once so often. If you watch the series of matches AMW and the Naturals have, generally the Naturals always learn the tricks of AMW. AMW has to keep coming up with more and more shortcuts to try and retain the NWA World Tag Team titles against the Naturals.
I tell you, what athleticism from Chase Stevens, kicked right up to his feet and puts both boots right in the face of the Tennessee Cowboy.
Although I don't think AMW learns the tricks of the Naturals quite as well.
The Cowboy meets the Little Wildcat. Double the clothesline. They have the worst luck with this one turnbuckle.
Whether it's 4 sides or 6 sides, AMW.
I think the Naturals do this to amuse themselves.
And this college campus is enjoying every second of this match.
Well, on a good college campus, you can see a scene like that any Friday night, but not with two nationally ranked professional athletes.
Oh, I know. I went to an art school.
AMW, again, disheveled on the floor. Every single time that AMW gets in there with the Naturals, they get thrown off their game. It's just as you said. Chase and Andy learn the tricks of AMW faster than any other team on the roster, and that's got to be one of the contributing factors why they have more victories over AMW than any other team on the roster.
Maybe if AMW would drink a little less alcohol on their way to the ring.
That's an excellent point. That does affect your reflexes, I'm told.
As Andy Douglas is moving at the speed of light.
Good grief, the knee goes right into the face of the Wildcat, Chris Harris. Now both Naturals in the ring. Trademark Naturals.
Bulldog into the knee. Chase Stevens with the first early cover in this contest.
Not a bad idea for Chase Stevens to tag himself back in the ring, as just a couple of weeks ago on Impact on Spike TV, Andy Douglas was the recipient of a vicious beating at the hands of the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Steiner, stretchered out of the building. And you talked about Eric Young earlier. I'm a little surprised to see Andy Douglas moving as well as he is at this point.
And AMW is moving in all the wrong direction.
Those boys are so well acquainted by now.
They know one another's religion.
Down low, the Cowboy will be singing Higher by the campfire tonight.
Actually, I think I know which block the church was built on.
Andy Douglas, big right hand.
Andy Douglas is the most undersized guy in all these contests between the Naturals and America's Most Wanted. And just like he's doing in this one, he has to use his speed much more effectively than anyone else. But he is so good at doing just that.
That was a gorgeous drop kick. AMW make an exchange. Oh, a
AMW distracted Brian Hebner, though. It was illegal, but absolutely brilliant.
And Andy Douglas now sent hard crashing to the floor. Undoubtedly the worst for wear, and dropped across the guardrail. As meanwhile, Chase Stevens is chasing AMW out of the ring, but that's not a smart move for the Naturals. It's just going to keep Hebner distracted for longer.
And AMW getting their first 2 count of the contest, thanks to the illegal double team.
The Wildcats slowing the match down and slowing Andy Douglas down. And you've got to believe that AMW is well aware of the limitations of Andy Douglas after that beating at the hands of Scott Steiner and Jeff Jarrett. When we get to lockdown at the end of the month on pay-per-view, AMW will be partners with the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Steiner in the lethal lockdown cage match against Sting's Army. So you've got to believe that the 2 sets of partners have been in coercion, and AMW knows exactly the state of Andy Douglas's well-being after that attack from Scott Steiner on Impact.
Oh yeah, Andy Douglas is definitely the one you want to isolate in this contest, and not surprisingly, that's exactly what AMW has done. And look at this, going for the power bomb.
Boy, all power.
No, turn into an airplane spin.
Helicopter slam, all power from the Cowboy.
Every time you see these 4 combatants in the ring, I know it's like this for me and you. I think it's like this for many of our viewers out there, but it really takes you back 20 years to when tag team wrestling was at its apex in the Mid-Atlantic area. We're in Danville, Virginia tonight, which is certainly no stranger to great tag team wrestling.
Absolutely not. What a treat it would be for all the great fans in Danville to have an NWA World Tag Team title defense. But of course, the King of the Mountain, Big Papa Pump, Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, AMW, Jarrett's Army, whatever you want to call them, saw fit not to grant that. Tremendous delay on the vertical suplex. Andy Douglas at this point is just dead weight in the air. And an assist takes Douglas down as the Tennessee Cowboy tags back in for 2 7/8.
Storm arguing about the count to official Brian Hebner. Chase Stevens trying to get this crowd back into it, trying to further Andy Douglas up.
Crowd getting behind the Naturals. And here definitely puts them in better position to challenge for the belt down the road, maybe tomorrow night in Martinsville.
Andy Douglas finally got back to a vertical base. The collision in mid-ring.
Both men down. Brian Hebner right there, putting the count on both of them. Boy, Chase Stevens is combustible on the apron. He's going to burst into flames if he doesn't get that tag.
Andy Douglas has taken a lot of punishment in the short amount of time he's been in there, though, especially if you factor in that attack last week. But right now, Chase Stevens back in the ring.
There's the tag. Chase Stevens, big time right hand. Tracy Smothers style.
But only how long can Chase Stevens go against the NWA World Tag Team Champions? Big backdrop.
Douglas trying to pull himself back to his feet so he'll be a bigger asset to his partner. Trademark Naturals right there with the double team combo. 2, only 2.5.
And boy, you know the Naturals right now are praying that this was actually for the NWA World Tag Team titles, because they have AMW on the ropes.
Chase going up but gets caught.
What a shot.
You saw the spit and teeth and sweat go flying out of Chase Stevens. Andy Douglas, we've seen the Naturals utilize this before.
Boy, and now Harris from behind.
It looks like the Tower of Doom. All 4 men down. Everybody down, and you've got to think, Grant Sawyer, maybe the first one to make a cover will get the victory.
Much like a ride at On's Adventure, it took the win out of each and every person ride in the Tower of Doom.
It looks like the Wildcat is moving a little bit better than anyone. He makes a cover on Andy Douglas. 2. Only 2.5. You've got to believe opponents that know each other as well as AMW and the Naturals are going to go back to the same tricks that have worked in the past as best they can. Heart attack, no!
for the social clip. Chase Stevens flying for him, has him down. Douglas in the cover, but at the last possible second, AFW is kicking out.
Near fall from the Naturals. Both men trying to get back to their feet. The Wildcat has got something in his hand. Referee Brian Hebner is right there admonishing. A kick towards Brian Hebner. That'll get you DQ'd. The power goes in the eyes of the Wildcat.
And picking up his own tag team partner.
Catatonic. The Wildcat got his own man and is proud of himself. The Wildcat is oblivious that he just got his own man. Could be the natural disaster. He's in position. Bam! The Naturals hit the natural disaster. And that's it. The Naturals upset the tag team champions of the world in a non-title match.
Next time around, I have a feeling that AFW is not going to get away with a non-title clause.
I guess you can't really even call it an upset, but once again, the Naturals get the better of the Wildcat. Huge ovation for the War Machine Rhino, but Abyss starts things off right away. It is anything goes between the War Machine and the Monster Abyss.
This should be physicality at its finest, its most fiercest, as Rhino off the ropes blocks the hip toss by Abyss and powers him down with the clothesline.
Abyss going for a hip toss early in the contest.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see that one out of the gate.
We did expect, however, this thing to get to the floor very quickly, and already on the far side of the ring, Jeremy Borash, our announcers and officials, taking higher ground as this anything goes bout takes to the floor already. The Monster Abyss sends Rhino into the rail. No, Rhino blocks it and sends Abyss.
I would expect the majority of this contest to take place outside of this six-sided ring, but Rhino hurling Abyss back into the ring and right on top of him.
The War Machine Rhino eats the buckle, but nails Abyss right on the side of the face, looks like in the jaw. He caught him with that forearm. Belly to belly, the power of the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion taking Abyss down.
Pretty sure that block hip toss is going to be the most scientific maneuver you're going to see in this one, because Rhino, it looks like he could be going for the gore in early.
He's calling for it already, but Abyss puts the boot right through Rhino's face. And that has ceased the momentum and the intensity that Rhino has been seized and stalled by the Monster Abyss.
I'm willing to say that there are no two men on the entire UWF TNA roster that can absorb as much punishment as these two men.
Our official goes to the floor. Even he intimidated by the Monster Abyss.
And Abyss is one of those individuals that doesn't only not respect authority, I don't even think he understands authority.
Without Father James Mitchell there to pull the strings, Abyss really is, if you'll pardon the wrestling pun, a loose cannon in that ring. It's amazing. It's like being in the ring almost brings him some kind of peace. It's like the only time that he actually can focus all that hatred and all that negative energy is when he's in a wrestling match. Outside the ring, it's pandemonium. It's tearing up locker rooms and hotels and monitors and everything else. It's like the only time that he can get his wits about him is from bell to bell.
And pounding Rhino's head is probably as happy as you're ever going to see Abyss, and he charges full steam ahead into the corner.
Abyss had some excitement in his step, just as you said, charging in against Rhino. Abyss, the Monster, later on this month at Lockdown on pay-per-view will face the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Christian Cage inside the Six Sides of Steel at Lockdown. It was Father James Mitchell and Alex Shelley, Paparazzi Productions, going to the house of Christian Cage, filming his wife Denise, and incensing the heavyweight champion to grant that title opportunity for Abyss later this month at Lockdown.
I'll tell you one thing, Christian Cage has certainly proven himself to be a fighting NWA World Champion, but by taking on the likes of the challengers like Monty Brown and the Monster Abyss, Christian Cage is not going to have a very long run as NWA World Champion.
And you've got to be thinking, this match has got big-time repercussions on the ranking of the challengers for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Rhino, a former champion, defeated Jeff Jarrett back at Bound for Glory. Abyss getting his first shot in a long time at Lockdown later this month on pay-per-view.
And how at home is Abyss going to be inside that steel cage? It's so rare that you go into a contest like that and the champion is the decided underdog. But when you put Abyss inside a steel cage, whoever he is facing is probably going to be the underdog.
If there was anybody that belongs at home in a big cage, in a fence, like an animal, it's Abyss. This crowd in Danville, 100% behind the War Machine Rhino. Rhino putting it upside the head of Abyss.
Reversal by Abyss, there to the clothesline by Rhino. Flying clothesline takes the Monster down.
That combustible power, that small frame that is just packed with intensity of Rhino.
Charging shoulder block in the corner, takes the win right out of Abyss.
Crowd here in Danville calling for the Gore Grant Sawyer.
Oh, they want it bad. Rhino's perched, go for a second time, and this time looks right into the right hand of Abyss.
Choke slam, and Rhino goes down. Cover. A count of 2 and 15-16. That was a close one. Rhino barely survives the choke slam of Abyss.
But twice now, Abyss has survived the gore attempt of Rhino. And Rhino,
there goes about $1,000 worth of sound equipment that Abyss is destroying, and a chair has been brought into play in the ring.
well, I hope they have these lights around the ringside bolted down and good, because Abyss is wrecking some furniture.
Official, take heed. And the chair goes across the sternum of the former NWA World Champ.
Abyss placing that chair across Rhino and possibly looking to finish him off here.
A little bounce in his step. Abyss loves when he can inflict pain. But some pain gets inflicted on the Monster Abyss. And if he does feel pain, he's going to feel it right there, if nowhere else.
Boy, if Rhino could capitalize on that, this match would be over. And here is goal!
Score! There's the cover! Clear the ring! 2, 3! And with the score, Rhino defeats the Monster Abyss!
Rhino pins the man that is going to be wrestling for the NWA World Heavyweight title in less than 1 month's time.
A big-time victory for the War Machine Rhino here for TNA in Danville.
I've seen a bunch of freeloading son of a guns. You're out here getting excited over some free t-shirts. You a bunch of bombs. I guess we got some race fans in here tonight, do we? Yeah, you are. Our biggest hitters is the NASCAR folks. You enjoy watching somebody drive around in a circle and make left-hand turns all night. This is the only true sport, and you idiots in Virginia have no business what it's about. You know, this promotion, UWF, who's taking TNA on the road, trying to ride me into a situation where I have to take one of their partners. Want to come here about and didn't go for. Tonight, I have handpicked my own partner. I went outside the TNA roster. And at this time, I'd like to bring him out here right now. Not only is he the first ever Top Enough champion, but he currently stars in the Thrill Line. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Virginia, and I won't hold that against him, Maven.
Tremendous reception for the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy and the outlaw Kip James. A very intriguing tag team match as the King of the Mountain Jeff Jarrett unveiled his mystery partner as Maven to take on the outlaw Kip James and the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy.
It may not be a classic tag team matchup, but I bet you it's going to be one exciting one as this crowd is screaming their appreciation for Jeff Hardy.
It was a few months ago in Harrisonburg, Virginia, Jeff Jarrett and his partner Maven defeated Team 3D in a very surprising outcome. A lot of people did not think that the first time tag team would be that successful. Jarrett going back to the well and bringing his partner Maven back again in this mystery partner situation against the very intriguing team of Kip James and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, Kip James and Jeff Hardy are actually probably more well known for the achievements in the tag team division, so really they're probably perfect partners here tonight. While on the other hand, you have Jeff Jarrett, who is certainly known for his singles action as a former 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
close to 20 tag team title reigns.
This is America. You people speak English like you're in Virginia.
Well, the former champ can interrupt us here.
I can't understand a damn thing he said. I didn't know all of it was. I'll tell you what, it's inbred, hillbilly, rednecks like you that are making it embarrassed to be on the state of Virginia. Hey, you too, boy.
Maven not endearing himself to what should be a home crowd for him.
Well, I think after the reception that he got in Harrisonburg, Maven, as our regular viewers saw, denounced that he was even from the state of Virginia. Kip James telling Maven what to do with his spare time.
I don't know if that's really going to offend Maven. I mean, he did get a lap dance from a transsexual on Surreal Life there.
That's an excellent point. As I was saying before the King of the Mountain interrupted, nearly 20 tag team championship reigns between Kip James and Jeff Hardy. As you mentioned, two of the most decorated tag team athletes in the modern day professional wrestling history. It's almost like, I guess it's been 15, 16 years ago when Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton paired up as a tag team as part of the Dangerous Alliance. It's that same mentality, two experienced, very successful tag team wrestlers pairing up for the first time.
Excellent point. Of course, in this contest, Maven is really almost the forgotten one here, but Maven is an extraordinarily accomplished competitor in his own right. He may not have got a lot of publicity in his time up north as what he should have, but this kid is an incredible athlete.
Tremendously built, looks like $1 million. As you can tell, his time out in Hollywood has benefited him. He's been in the gym.
On TV each and every week. On VH1, and you call it whatever you want. We're telling you, shut your mouth.
Seems like the stardom maybe's gone to Maven's head a little bit.
I guess he's proud of his accomplishments on the Surreal Life.
Well, Kip James and Jeff Hardy are not going to be intimidated in the slightest by Maven's accomplishments in the ring or out of it. You're not going to throw anything in a wrestling ring at Kip James that he hasn't seen before. I don't think you can throw anything at life that Jeff Hardy hasn't seen before.
Boy, that's the truth. Jeff Hardy is certainly his own individual. He dances to his own beat and is probably as laid back as any competitor when it comes to getting in the squared circle.
But that's not a reflection of not taking his sport or his craft seriously. Jeff Hardy from bell to bell will bring it, but it's just as you said, it's that laid-back mentality. It's that calm, cool, collective nature. It really is a big benefit of Jeff Hardy until that temper gets away from him.
Of course, Billy Gunn generally works at a more accelerated pace, certainly a more high-intensity pace than Jeff Hardy, but they should actually work as a very good mixture here tonight.
It's Kip James, unless you want to hear from the Lawyers Monday morning. This crowd ready to see some action. Maven hesitant to tie up with Kip James.
Referee Brian Hebner even telling Maven, let's get this show going.
Enthusiastic crowd. Jeff Hardy playing cheerleader on the apron, but Maven stalling. Works to his advantage as he catches Kip James in a moment where he wasn't paying attention.
Well, now that we've had our first contact, I'll actually say that I'm surprised Maven started this contest. You'd think you'd go with the proven or more proven commodity in the former World Heavyweight Champion in Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, the former heavyweight champ is smart above anything else. He's gonna feel out the matchup first. I have a feeling if Maven mounts an offensive, which he is not doing a great job at right now, if Maven mounts an offensive, I think then you'll see the champ tag in. Once again, Jeff Jarrett wants no part of that tag.
Well, you nailed that call.
While James and now he's gonna endear himself to his partner, and there's the tag.
Maven is still young and possibly a bit naive, and Jeff Jarrett is working him as exactly we would expect Jeff Jarrett to work him.
Well, Maven called him on it, and Jeff Jarrett got the tag. The King of the Mountain, who in a couple of weeks on pay-per-view at Lockdown will lead his team into the cage. But right now, everyone in Danville is not thinking about the cage. They're thinking
throwing Jeff Hardy in the ring, but Kip James was on such an offensive roll that Jeff Jarrett really did the right thing by getting the other guy in there.
Listen to the Hardy chance. Collar and elbow tie up, and Jarrett takes him down. I bet you know what's coming, Grant. It's the Fargo strut from the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett. Maven breaks it out on the apron himself. And Jeff Jarrett supremely proud of himself for that first takedown. He really likes to get that first takedown in.
I'm guessing Maven has no clue who Jackie Fargo is.
Are you denouncing the training on Tough Enough?
Denouncing any training by an entertainment company.
Deep hip toss. Boy, Jarrett's proud of himself after each and every offensive move. He likes to celebrate, I'll give him that. Up on the ropes, gonna take a breather, is the King of the Mountain.
Obviously, Jeff Jarrett is not going to win a match with this, but he is trying to take some of the momentum away from Kip James and Jeff Hardy.
100% trying to get inside the head of Hardy and Kip James.
I don't know if I want to be inside the head of Jeff Hardy.
Nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Exactly.
And Hardy, wise to him, implying to Jarrett physically that you're trying to get inside my head, but the champ, the former champ, gets so used to calling him the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Jarrett all over Jeff Hardy.
Shoot off the ropes by Jarrett. Tuck at the clothesline by Jeff Hardy. Big fly clothesline.
It is so weird to see Jeff Jarrett without that heavyweight championship and a little version of the Fargo strut from Jeff Hardy.
Fargo 2K6, I guess.
I wonder if he watched a lot of Memphis TV mixed in with like the Wesley Willis CDs and the anime and the other paraphernalia that Jeff Hardy enjoys in his spare time. Big right cross to the side of the head. Hardy on the second rope. Whisper in the wind gets nothing. As Jeff Jarrett makes the tag to Maven.
Jeff Jarrett trying to outsmart his quicker opponent, but that's Jeff Hardy's go-to maneuvers, the quickness, the speed, the high flying.
Maven, gorgeous standing drop kick all the way 6 feet in the air to connect right to the face of Jeff Hardy.
He made sure Kip James was fully aware of the height and extension on that drop kick.
Maven and Jarrett now get a double up on the charismatic Enigma. It was just about a month ago at Enigmatic Arrival when Jeff Hardy made his surprising debut in the UWF.
Making the save for Hermie Sadler, actually.
He returned the next night in Fort Lee and sent Shannon Moore packing all the way out of the company.
It was.
He sent Shannon Moore back up north, did the charismatic Enigma Jeff Hardy. And you gotta think that may be his intention here with Jeff Jarrett and Maven. Maven another that is not a contracted TNA performer. Jeff Jarrett before the contest said he went outside the boundaries of TNA to pick his partner for the evening.
But you know, in Maven's mind, he's thinking a win here, much like we saw with Amber O'Neal earlier, a win here by Maven could propel him to a weekly spot on national television with TNA.
Another weekly spot on national television. As right now, Maven can be seen every week on The Surreal Life.
Oh, Maven all the time.
Which he will tell you about 8 times in a 2-minute conversation if you allow him. Maven's very proud of his success and fame up to this point. That cocky attitude that we saw displayed in Harrisonburg. Uncharacteristic. Maven comes off such a good-natured kid, a good-natured, laid-back Virginia boy. But man, that cocky streak comes out as it did in Harrisonburg and as it is right now, trying to rub it in the face of Jeff Hardy, Kip James, and all these fans.
Yeah, back in the early days, a lot of us really embraced that wonderful story between Maven and his mother. But ever since Maven got into professional wrestling, we've really seen a new side of this kid. And professional wrestling, or maybe the people he's aligned himself, have really corrupted him.
Jeff Jarrett and Maven all over Jeff Hardy in the corner. Hardy has not really gotten to show. Well, I take that back. Whisper in the wind.
The first one didn't pay off, but the second one sure did.
I was just about to say that Jeff Hardy has not really gotten to show that dynamic offense that he's known for.
member of the James gang trying to implore this crowd to get behind Jeff Hardy.
Hardy makes his feet, and there's the tag to Kip James. Jeff Jarrett begging off. Raven runs right into a big right hand.
Big right hands all around for both Jarrett and Maven. Shoot off the ropes by Kip James.
Into the buckle goes the King of the Mountain. Charge into the corner. And a big-time clothesline of 260, 270 pounds of Kip James. Maven looks like he saves his partner from the Famouser, as that is definitely what Kip James was motioning for.
Big clothesline over the top rope as Jeff Hardy takes Maven to the outside. Now back one-on-one in the middle of the ring. It's Kip James and Jeff Jarrett.
Hardy and Maven tumble to the floor. Stinger splash. And he's calling for it on Jeff Jarrett. Shot to the midsection.
This crowd wants it. Kip James off the ropes.
Famouser gets nothing. And Jarrett sends Kip James into Brian Hebner. Jarrett is going to retreat to the floor. Kip James stops him but gets kicked low by the King of the Mountain.
Very smart tactical wrestling there by Jeff Jarrett, who was able to avoid the maneuver. Shot Kip James right into an official and now has the guitar right in his hand.
Jarrett's got that daggum guitar. Wait a minute, we've got...
And who is this in the ring trying to get the guitar away from Jeff Jarrett?
I believe that I can't really tell from my vantage point. I believe that's NASCAR analyst Jeff Hammond, who is preventing Jeff Jarrett from using the guitar. Shove into Kip James. Kip James gets the Famouser. And Jeff Hammond prevents the guitar from being used.
Hammond trying to revive our official. Meanwhile, Kip James
with a jackhammer. Jeff Hardy's going up top. Jeff Hammond, who tomorrow night in Martinsville. Swanton bomb. There's a cover. Brian Hebner's there.
double pin.
3. Jeff Hammond tomorrow night in Martinsville is a part of that 8-man tag. And tonight is the difference maker as Jeff Jarrett and Maven taste defeat against the charismatic enigma and Kip James. Oh man, you've got to believe, Grand Warrior, that the King of the Mountain, there's no other way around it. It's going to be pissed tomorrow night in Martinsville as Jeff Hammond cost the King of the Mountain and Maven the match. And the guitar did not get to be used.
Jeff Jarrett had this match in the palm of his hand, or more specifically, had the guitar in the palm of his hand. But Jeff Hammond was there to take it away and take away the victory and hand it to Kip James and Jeff Hardy.
Senior referee, Mr. Main Event, Earl Hebner, is in the ring along with Team 3D. Closing the show tonight against the Diamonds in the Rough, David Young and Elix Skipper.
And certainly could be a big pivotal match as far as the contenders to America's Most Wanted NWA World Tag Team Championship, because what you have right here is two teams that want the NWA World Tag Team titles so very bad.
Crowd here in Danville at Everett College already cheering for the table.
Wasting no time at all. And don't think the chant goes unnoticed by Brother Ray and Brother Devon. Have to face Team 3D in a street fight, but Brother Ray already has the crutch.
Brother Ray has got a crutch from the ringside fan, and it is chaotic already.
Meanwhile, Brother Ray ramming David Young in our steel barricade here.
Devon and David Young headed our way. If they come this way, don't tell them to move. You'll be talking to yourself, Grant.
Brother Ray is head over.
Brother Devon has got system. Brother Devon and David Young right in front of us. Big right hand from Brother Devon. Highspots.com and Highspot TV taking it to your living room or to your computer screen.
As Brother Ray takes it possibly up the stairs here on the campus.
Brother Ray going up the other side with Elix Skipper. It is all over the building. Brother Ray bouncing Skipper's head off the steps of the bleachers.
Not a fan in their seat as they're hoarding around the brawls that are going on opposite sides of the campus right now.
There is almost too much going on right now to call.
And a pinfall could occur at any moment.
I do see that Earl Hebner is on the far side of the building with Brother Ray and Elix Skipper. We're working on getting the camera over there right now. I think we've got our camera in place. Hermie Sadler, our commissioner, keeping the fans back. Skipper Skipper trying to mount some offense over on Brother Ray.
Yeah, this street fight environment is certainly going to be in the favor of Team 3D. The Diamonds in the Rough are in a world of trouble.
Well, you talk about hardcore, you talk about extreme, you talk about violence. Brother Ray and Brother Devon are as synonymous with that as anybody. Skipper holding his own with Brother Ray.
I'm sure Elix Skipper is more than accomplished if you square off with him in a dark alley, but this is Brother Ray he's lined up with right now.
It looks like Brother Devon and David Young over by the concession stands, I believe. Too much going on to follow.
Well, these fans in Danville, Virginia are eating this up with a spoon on their feet, running all over this arena.
Kirby Sadler and the Hebners bringing the stars of professional wrestling in total non-stop action, not only to your living room, but in some cases like this, are bringing them right to your seat.
Well, some of your ears may have perked when we went on the air and mentioned today's date. Yes, it was 21 years ago tonight, a very historical night in professional wrestling. But today, it's a new day, it's a new era, and TNA is proving that you don't need an E to spell TNA.
Brother Ray has got Skipper down on the floor.
And the crowd, all they want is a fight. And that's exactly what they're getting.
Well, Team 3D will give you a fight. They'll give you a fight before they'll give you anything else.
I wonder if this match is ever going to return to the ring.
It looks like Brother Ray is headed in that general direction. Skipper goes over the barricade to the floor. Brother Ray and Skipper have at least approached ringside. Baby steps. It looks like all four men are back to ringside.
I was going to say Team 3D finally reunited at ringside, and now Brother Ray on the ring apron. And how appreciative is this crowd of this UWF and TNA product.
The TNA chant goes out at Everett College on Danville.
And Brother Devon is actually lined up in the corner like it's going to be a tag team contest. And David Young, chip shot, spinning heel kick by Elix Skipper.
Boy, Skipper caught Brother Ray right in the face. Things starting to settle down at least a little bit.
Earl Hebner can breathe a little easier for the time being anyway.
Oh, I don't think Earl Hebner was really sweating the situation. I'm sure he's been in worse. But it was getting awfully hectic. Brother Devon thinking better of trying to step in the ring. No, he's in the ring.
And just like that, once they're back in the wrestling ring, the tide turns to a Diamonds in the Rough.
Devon did not want to go in the ring, but the temper just got the better of him.
Well, typically it is a street fight. Devon doesn't have to sit and wait on the corner.
It's broken, well, I want to say it's broken down into a Formula Tag Team match. I guess it's settled down into a Formula Tag Team match more than anything.
It can break right out again at any second, though.
Boy, that's the truth, especially with Skipper taking the cheap shots on Brother Ray.
Earl Hebner doing everything in his power to try and maintain some semblance of order.
Cover. Only a count of two.
I'm actually really impressed that Diamonds in the Rough was able to get this one back to the ring. They may have had their brains beat out all over this campus, but they did survive it. The match did not end out there where Falls Town anywhere.
I think that was the best strategy for Diamonds in the Rough to utilize. Try and survive a couple of shots because you know you're going to get them, but try to survive and get back to the ring.
And David Young right now trying to slow the pace down to more their style, big headbutt.
And Brother Ray goes down. I think Young dazed himself a little bit.
Had to make the tag out, but not a bad idea as Elix Skipper flies off the top with the cover, but only a two.
Spinal Tap catches Brother Ray right between the shoulder blades. Prime time, reminding everyone in Danville this is his house.
Brother Ray screaming out in pain following that Spinal Tap. Now Elix Skipper trying to lock him up and just mock Devon.
High up on my list of things not to do, right up there with giving Abyss a weapon is mocking Team 3D.
Now Elix Skipper trying to position Ray more back in their corner.
But no matter whether the ring has got 6 sides or 4, your motive for tag team wrestling is to cut it in half and keep the man in your half of the ring.
Boy, and as soon as Ray started to get any form of advantage there, Skipper took him right back down. But he needs to get on top of Ray. He can't be allowing him to catch his breath like this.
Brother Ray doing just that, trying to catch his breath. But that big kick to the sternum from David Young will not aid him in the slightest.
I'm guessing Devon is not going to just stand by and watch for too much longer.
2 big chops from Brother Ray. Let David Young know that he is still in the fight. David Young, the veteran of the team, sends Brother Ray back down to the canvas.
But there is no quit in Team 3D.
Oh, absolutely not. It was at one of their first appearances in TNA that they were beaten bloody by America's Most Wanted Team Canada. And then just a week ago, again, beaten bloody by Team Canada.
Beautiful drop kick by Elix Skipper, much like we mentioned with Rhino and Abyss earlier. You have to put Ray and Devon on the list of those men that can absorb more punishment than just about anyone else.
They're still standing. They're still fighting. Although those big knee strikes from Elix Skipper just might take Brother Ray out of the fight.
Snapmare by Elix Skipper and hammering away on the back of the head of Ray.
Roll up on Brother Ray. Referee a little bit out of position, but only gets 2.
Ray was precariously close to Devon there, but catches Elix Skipper and spears him.
Good grief, Skipper almost got taken out of his boots.
Well, you can almost see the wind leave the sails of Elix Skipper on this one. And once again, Devon and this crowd encouraging Brother Ray.
Earl Hebner right there, putting the count on both men. Brother Ray has made it to his feet. Top of the line could be the Brother Ray bomb.
And he nailed Elix Skipper with it, but Brother Ray still having too much taken out of him to get over there and make the tag to Devon.
Crowd here in Danville still solidly behind Team 3D.
Elix Skipper has the positioning though. He is between Ray and Devon. Well, I think he inadvertently just rolled out of the way. He needs to be making the tag to David Young, who's screaming at him to make the tag. Ray precariously close to Devon. Could have the tag coming up right here.
Brother Ray makes the dive, double tag. Young and Devon are in.
Devon legally, I think in this contest, possibly for the first time.
Big time shoulder tackle. Wow, God, the elevation.
I thought it was going to be a flapjack, but Skipper kept going and going and going.
Once again, Skipper dropped on his face the second time in the contest. Back to back, Young eats the turnbuckle. Big time missile tackle from Brother Devon. 2. But Elix Skipper right there. Now Brother Ray fighting back.
The shot to Brother Ray sends Elix Skipper out of the ring, while in the other corner, Devon has David Young cornered.
This thing is breaking down again, Grant Sawyer.
I think this is the point where Earl Hebner just needs to throw his arms up and let him go.
Brother Ray firing up. Big time. Elbow to the top of the head of David Young.
Flashback 20 years.
Scoop and a slam, and everyone in Danville, Virginia knows what's coming next.
Devon flying off the top, right into David Young.
Young is in a world of hurt. Skipper down on the floor as Avery University comes alive.
Team 3D has this match in the palm of their hand, and this crowd can taste it. And that's exactly what Devon is doing, going outside underneath the 6 sides of the TNA ring, and here we go.
Everyone on their feet in Danville. Team 3D sets up the table. Young and Skipper have got to get some offense in quick.
Yeah, Elix Skipper still down and out outside the ring. David Young needs to get some help, and here comes Skipper.
They've got to get some offense in quick. I might remove the hardware out
table, trying to turn it around on Team 3D.
Trying to turn the table, Grand Sawyer.
That's exactly what they're doing, as they're positioning Devon up, looking possibly go for a double suplex through the table, but Brother Ray moves the table out of the way.
They did not get the suplex.
Son of a bitch!
Son of a gun, he just called him, and a double clothesline. Skipper charges. 3D! 3D! And now Brother Ray goes for the table.
With the Elix Skipper down and out, David Young has no one to make the save.
Skipper is incapacitated, and it looks like the Super Bomb from Team 3D. Good night, David Young.
Brother Ray with the cover and the count.
Oh, David Young up, and Team 3D have dominated the Diamonds in the Rough in the Danville Street Fight.
Brother Ray, Brother Devon, victorious here tonight at UWF TNA in Danville, Virginia.
Boy, you've got to believe that tomorrow night in Martinsville, Team 3D are going to be even more fired up. They will team with our Commissioner Hermie Sadler and Jeff Hammond to face Jeff Jarrett, Showtime Eric Young, and America's Most Wanted tomorrow night in Martinsville. That event will also be available from highspots.com and Highspot TV. And Team 3D asserting their dominance as one of the best tag teams in the sport tonight in Danville. Well, for Grant Sawyer and everyone at highspots.com and Highspot TV, everyone on behalf of TNA and the UWF, thank you for this purchase. Thank you for your continued support of the UWF and total non-stop action. We'll see you tomorrow night in Martinsville.
I was